Once upon a time, there lived a kind-hearted man and his wife in a remote hut high up in the mountains. The couple was very old and had no children. As the days passed, life became increasingly difficult for them. They had grown so weak that they could no longer handle all their daily tasks. Yet, they loved each other dearly and had made a vow: when the time came for death to knock on their door, they wished to die together. They knew that time was probably not far off. But then, something happened that changed everything. It began one morning when the old man went into the forest to chop wood and collect mushrooms. Despite his age, he still had to venture into the mountains to gather firewood to sell and make a living. That morning, he left at the crack of dawn while his wife stayed home to do housework. After collecting enough wood, he thought, "My old lady really loves mushrooms. It's still early, I should gather some for her." Thinking so, with the bundle of wood strapped to his back, he began to carefully pick mushrooms one by one. Without realizing it, he wandered deeper and deeper into the forest. "That should be enough," he said to himself, looking at the nearly full pouch in his hand. "Now, wait, which way did I come from?" He had gotten lost in the forest. The weather that day was especially hot, and he became terribly thirsty. Luckily, as he was trying to find the small trail home, he heard the gentle sound of trickling water. He followed the sound and found a small spring hidden among thick bushes. "Thank heavens," he exclaimed, kneeling down and plunging his hands into the cool water. "Oh, how clear and refreshing it is." He scooped water into his hands and drank it eagerly. Suddenly, he felt stronger. He took another sip, and again he felt the vitality of youth surge through him. He didn't notice the change in his appearance, but had he seen it, he would have been even more astonished. His face was now that of a young man. The wrinkles had disappeared, and his once gray hair had turned jet black. After one last gulp, the old man, now a young man, stood up and quickly made his way home, moving swiftly along the trail. That evening, his wife waited and waited, but he didn't return. At that time of day, he was usually home, exhausted, with a heavy bundle of wood on his back. She grew worried, wondering what might have happened. But there was nothing she could do. They lived in a very secluded place, far from any village. She sat, guessing and wondering what could have gone wrong. Suddenly, she heard a rustling noise outside. She rushed out and saw a faint silhouette approaching. When she clearly saw the shape of a man carrying a bundle of wood, she felt relieved. She began walking toward the shadowy figure. As she got closer, she looked affectionately into the man's face. "Is that you, dear? Why are you home so late? Come in quickly, it's so cold out here," she said, and hurriedly pulled her stubborn old husband inside. Once they were inside, the wife cried out in shock. What is this? Is that really you? Why is your hair black? You look so young, this can't be real. Oh, I can't believe you're my husband." She burst into tears, growing even more anxious. "And now listen, my dear wife, you must believe Emil, the man Said." Then he told her the miraculous story of what had happened that day. After listening intently with great curiosity, the old woman exclaimed excitedly, "Is that so? If it's true, then tomorrow I must go there and drink from that spring too. I want to be young again just like you." And so, the next morning, the old woman indeed went into the mountains. She searched for the spring of youth. That day, the husband of course stayed home to take over her chores. Night fell, but she still hadn't returned. The husband grew worried. He stood at the door, despite the bitter cold of night, waiting for her to come back. But she did not return that night, nor was there any sign of her after the sun had risen. Finally, he decided to go into the forest to search for his wife. He remembered the trail that led to the wondrous spring where he had drunk the water. So, he found it without much trouble. There he stood, looking for any trace of her, but she was nowhere to be seen. He searched around the spring and suddenly heard a faint whisper nearby. He carefully followed the sound and came to a spot where he saw something surprising. A small child wrapped in an oversized kimono was wriggling and sobbing. He looked and suddenly understood everything. "Is that you, my dear wife?" he asked sorrowfully, recognizing the kimono she had worn the day before when she went into the mountains. His loyal and beloved wife had become young again, too young. The frail child whimpered weakly at his feet. "Dear, the water was so sweet, and I was so thirsty.
I drank too much. And now look at me."
The man gently wrapped the child tightly in the kimono and carried her home. From that day on, he thought, "How shall I care for my baby wife now?"